Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be playing the New Order as Samara, or Samara, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I've never played as a nation, but they've got some quite flavorful paths, and we've got Andrei Vlasov, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But we've got Andrei Vlasov to lead Samara. We have got 3 leaders to choose from. Right here, if we look at the focus tree, let's see who is our best. Well, first things first, we've got to take a deeper look into our situation. Well, we've got some decisions here where we can do some negotiations with the Germans. However, I do not plan to bond with them in any way, shape or form. Why? Because they literally capitulated the Russians, killing millions of innocent lives. So with that in mind, we can now look back to the 3 options that we have to choose to success Vlasov. Our voice, Soikov, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's alright, but I don't know. And that German puppet, the German sympathizer, no way. Actually, we're cutting ties with those little negotiations with the Germans because it's just unnecessary and irrelevant. It's just going to drive our nation down a dark path. Now, do not fear, for as our general, Bunyachenko, looks like a pretty nice leader. He's got all the aspects that I want for Samara. So, we've got some focuses right here to go down to increase his influence over Samara. Now, obviously, our nation is in shambles. We're being bombarded by German bombers, even though some people believe that we can negotiate with him. But Bunyachenko, he, with his focuses, with some nice buffs, will improve the situation that we're in. Oh yeah, look at this. Little Joseph Tito. The man who has dethroned the Italian Empire and asserted his dominance over the Mediterranean. That's wild. Now we're coming to the end of our first focus tree, and Bunyachenko's reforms have proven to be a great success. Poverty rates have immensely decreased. However, Bunyachenko's ideas aren't fully based off civilians or army. He has got a nice balance between both army and civilians. And thus, Andrei Vlasov has decided that Bunyachenko is so honorable that he has made him head of government. A major victory for Bunyachenko and all of Samara. We've also got a new focus tree where Bunyachenko can implement more of his brilliant ideas. But before we can look into our focus tree, we have got to deal with the nation's officers, whereas we've got to deal with their loyalty to Bunyachenko and the amount of officers in a nation. Looking back to Bunyachenko's first focus tree, we're going to start with the industry, whereas the industry is quite puny compared to the rest of the nations bordering us. So, those focuses will not only improve our GDP, but also poverty rates will decrease as well. Well, actually, that wasn't Bunyachenko's first legitimate focus tree, so I guess I won't count it. But we've unlocked a new focus tree, which we can explore. We've got 8 focuses. Not too many, not a few. But, more importantly, the German bombings have stopped due to the German Civil War. So, that major national debuff has disappeared, and we can slowly, but surely, revive the Russian spirit. Continuing down our focus tree, we were able to increase the nation's support for Andrei Vlasov's decision to crown Bunyachenko as the next leader of Samara. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Mikhail Gorbachev is supposed to lead the Council of the Russian Republic during the Moscovian Civil War. If they removed him, that's pretty sad. But, oh well. We're coming to the end of this little focus tree, and once it's concluded, we get the Sumatra decisions. They are basically decisions where you can reunify your little Russian region. Now I built up our army to quite sizable army for Samara before we even conquered a nation. So I put it to test and invade Bashkortostan, Tatarstan and Gorky. However, I lost the video footage of me invading those nations, sadly, so you're just gonna have to take my word. Our next nation that we would invade was Volga and the Aryan Brotherhood. Why? Well, they're both easy targets, or at least for an army that's our size. But unfortunately, most of my video files of me conquering them as well were deleted. I am truly sorry. We also invaded Vyatka lately after we conquered the Aryan Brotherhood and Volga, leaving the West Russian Revolutionary Front, Common Republic, and the Order of St. George left in Western Russia besides us. So, you can finally see our army put into action. Well, as you can see, our army was quite invincible during those minor wars against our neighbors. So, all we've got to do until we can reunite Western Russia is complete the rest of our focus tree. So, with the final focus of our focus tree being completed, Bunyachenko can reunite Western Russia. Truly a historical moment for our nation and the future of the world. Well, we have just been informed that Vlasov has unfortunately perished. A sad day for our nation. However, we have got a brand new national focus tree. And we've only got one little section to go down. The death of Vlasov. Now, in order to assert Bunyachenkov's dominance over our nation, we're going to have to make some cutbacks, if you know what I mean. But continuing down our focus tree, we would have many events which were somewhat beneficial for our nation, even though we had just lost a valuable person to our nation. But those focuses would truly assert Bunyachenkov's dominance over Western Russia. Well, this little section of the focus tree is done, so we can explore some other little sections. But first, we've got to get rid of overextended administration. That national debuff kinda hurts. Now, this side of the focus tree didn't only get rid of the national debuff, but also improve support for Bunyachenkov, which is pretty nice in my opinion. But we just completed that side of the focus tree just in time for the Karelian War. We've got these decisions right here to help out our brothers in Moscow. Well, it will soon be time to launch a full-scale intervention and help out our brothers in Murmansk and hopefully get a revenge on the Finnish and how they wrongfully and illegitimately stole the rightful Russian land. Now, the first days of the war were extremely blissful for us when Yuga fell in a matter of days, because we vastly outnumbered them in division size and strength. So we'd move on to defense. Now, they didn't have any divisions at all on the front line because they were busy with Murmansk. So we quickly snaked to the victory points, leading to the complete and utter capitulation. Now, obviously, we can't annex the entirety of Finland, we'd only annex Murmansk and Karelia, but that's enough, that's all we had previously. But we're not done with expansion just yet, we're also dealing with the Southern Urals, or the race for the Southern Urals between Western Siberia and us, Western Russia. So, without further ado, let's see how quickly we can capitulate these puny little nations. No, obviously, with nations like Orenburg standing no chance against our army, capitulated within a matter of days, and they fell like dominoes, first Orenburg, and the rest of the Southern Urals. Western Siberia wasn't prepared at all, so we got all of the Southern Urals. It was a complete and utter Western Russian victory. Well, hey, guess what? We completed our entire focus tree, and now it's 1969. Our focus tree not only improved our political situation, but also our industry, diplomatic status throughout the globe, and most importantly, our army. Why is that important? Because we're going to put an end to Mr. Nikita Khrushchev's puny little Western Siberian state. Because their army stands no chance against ours. Now, our army was completely overrunning their divisions, despite the fact that they had tanks and other technology that we didn't. However, the pride of Bunyachenko and his people were able to effortlessly defeat Khrushchev's puny state. But with that, the Russian Republic is reunited. What's really just Western Russia and Western Siberia. But another good thing is that we unlocked a brand new focus tree. Our new focus tree would practically just be about changing some of our old and temporary ideas. Why were they temporary? Well, we're obviously struggling, so we had to implement some ideas and principles that weren't so blissful and graceful on the people. But that's about to change, and our industry and economy is also going to change, because we're larger, more population. With larger population, larger nation, everything increases as well. So, our industry is quite vital. Without our industry, our nation would be nothing. So we're going to have to make some deals with nations like the Japanese, which is quite unfortunate because they're also a Russian backstabber. But oh well. That's not the only thing that we reformed. We have also got focuses to change and reform our military. Yes, we were the best throughout Western Siberia and Russia, but is that the best in the world? Well, we sent a mission to Tokyo asking for some funds to help our nation out, but they declined. We're going to ask one last time. If they decline, I'll remember this day. Luckily, they accepted. Take this as a warning, Japan. We will come for you one day, but since you accepted, we'll be a little bit graceful with the judgment. Anyways, enough of that little episode. We completed the little focus tree, and with that focus being completed, we're now in 1971. The two remaining Russian nations are us, the Russian Republic in Western Siberia and Western Russia, and in Central and Eastern Siberia is Amur, or the Siberian National Republic. So, let's get to work and eradicate these Russian buffoons. The first days of the war were extremely easy. Just like every other Russian nation, they didn't have enough manpower and equipment to fuel their puny and embarrassingly humiliating army. Well, Bunyachenko led our main army, and our army reforms where we changed from only infantry to mechanized divisions as well, who were blitzing over Siberia. We captured key victory points, supply hubs, etc. to cripple the Siberian National Republic. Now, they had more divisions than any nation we ever fought, obviously, because they were the largest opponent that we ever fought, but that served as a mere road bump on our trip to reunite the motherland. But soonly, the Siberian National Republic would soon crumble to Bunyachenko's mighty army. Bunyachenko is victorious throughout Russia, and if we scroll down, we can reunite the motherland. After decades, Russia is united under one flag. Now, there are multiple things that we can do in our foreign policy. Main thing being in Iran. We can send volunteers to the Iran that we support, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And we've got some decisions right here which can increase the amount of contribution that we give to the Islamic Republic of Iran. But that, to be honest, wasn't actually the main thing. Main thing was Russian expansion. Where are we going to expand? To Central Asia, to Kazakhstan, and other Central Asian nations will come later. But first, let's tackle the Kazakh threat. Well, with Russia reunited, our army is more motivated than ever. Bunyachenko led the Russian people to victory. So, invading Kazakhstan would be no problem, especially with a newly modified Air Force and Army. Well, I think it was just under a month we were able to capitulate Kazakhstan, and we have now got them as a puppet, and we just have to wait less than 100 days to capitulate them, or actually assimilate them, into the Russian state. Well, in the meantime, while we're at peace, we can look to our eastern front against the Japanese. Now, we did go into some negotiations with them previously, but this time I plan to be 100% and get everything I want. Well, with the Treaty of Beijing, all of our former Soviet territories that were stolen from the Japanese were won. Nice. And another victory for Bunyachenko is acquiring nuclear weaponry. Interesting. Looking south to our volunteers in Iran. We have helped the Islamic Republic of Iran overcome the enemies, solidifying our influence and diplomacy throughout the entire globe. Oh, just kidding. Iran actually decided to join the Japanese faction. They betrayed us. I don't know how to feel about this, but I'll get my revenge one day. And oh yeah, the conclusion of the Turkish Kenis, I think that's how you pronounce it. Nah, I actually probably butchered that, but that little thingy in Central Asia has been resolved, meaning we can launch a full-scale invasion on the rest of Central Asia. Now, we have to fight multiple nations at once. However, they preoccupied all on the Turkestan region, meaning we could effortlessly capitulate the nations. Or the Turkestan region actually held up some resistance, but they would also capitulate within a matter of days. We, the Russian people, are now at war with the Germans and their allies. Decades ago, we were humiliated not once, but twice. Millions of our people, millions of the ones who we loved, were killed, slaughtered for what? Nothing. It's time for our revenge. Well, I think it's safe to say that the Germans have been humiliated, and we've got our revenge. So instead of ending the world with nuclear annihilation, we have asked for peace. The Germans have accepted. We have prevented nuclear war, but also gained all of our former Russian territories that are rightfully ours. Bunyachenko What a great man. And we can slowly reintegrate our puppets that we acquired from the peace conference, like Petrograd. And with Petrograd reintegrated into the Empire, or Russian state, we can move the capital. Where to? Moscow, obviously. And we can also acquire some territories in Finland. Now, with the Germans humiliated, Europe would be eradicated of fascism, or so we thought. The German Civil War has occurred, meaning there's a slight chance that the fascists could arise once more. However, that was not the case. The army was victorious in the Second German Civil War. However, they are also quite fascist, so better keep an eye on them. But with no protection from anybody, we may as well just invade Romania in the little Odessan puppet. And just like that, Romania has been defeated, and the territories have been given to Ukraine. But their influence over Bessarabia would not last for long. Well, I mean, they are a puppet, so is the Baltics, Crimea, Caucasus, Belarus. Well, they've got no authority to be independent, are they? So, may as well just integrate them into the motherland, where they belong. But we're not going to stop there. We are going to invade the Republic of Turkey, because they occupy some states that I want.
Готовит нам опять огни и войны, и тучи тяжело нависли над землей. Советская страна пусть трудится спокойно, а нам, товарищ, рано на покой. Не беда, что в висках седина, и порой до утра не уснуть. Мы готовы с тобой.
We've got states that we wanted, and we've got Turkey as a puppet as well. Well, it looks like that I was right. The Germans have reenacted their former glory, trying to achieve what? Not sure, but they're at war with the Orphan. But just as things couldn't get any more dire for the Orphan, the Japanese, along with the Allies, have declared war on the affection. I think it's over for the Orphan, or at least America can hide in North America like they did in the original TNO universe before 1962. Oh, since Japan is already at war with the Orphan, I think it's time to get a revenge. It's the right time to strike while they're distracted in the Pacific, and declare war, opening up another front for the Japanese. Well, I think our army is pretty sizable and capable enough to defeat China, India, and Japan, and other nations. Well, this changes everything. We're at war with the Germans, and the Germans have absolutely dominated Europe as a whole. How will they perform? There's only one way to find out.
Рабочих кабинетах майоры с генеральской сединой. Нам в руки вложен щит и меч родной державы, врагу не одолеть незыблемый редут, овеяны вечной негасимой славой, традиции Дзержинского живут. Не беда, что в висках седина, и порой до утра не уснуть. Мы готовы с тобой, старина, повторить этот огненный путь. Мы готовы с тобой, старина, повторить этот огненный путь.
Well, we have defeated one faction, the Germans, but now it's time to finish off the Japanese. I can't believe it. Bunyachenko, the people, the motherland, have defeated the Germans and the Japanese when all was thought to be lost. A major victory for humanity as we know it. Back in 1962, we were a nation full of bandits, illegitimate civilians. Heck, we were trading with the Germans, the people who killed millions of innocent civilians. It's a disgrace. But with the help of the people, the army, the motherland, and most importantly, Bunyachenko, we were able to triumph over practically the entire globe. All evil has been eradicated. We've asserted ourselves as the strongest nation on the globe, and I think it's going to stay like that for quite some time. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any video ideas, just drop them in the comment section below. I'll definitely do it, for as I don't want to disappoint my viewers. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and take care.